Good morning, everyone. What is happening? You know what time it is. Yes. It is time for Murals in the Market. And I am starting it out at one of my favorite pieces in the market, Ed Ehrman. What is up, everybody? I am Jason Hall, the Jason of all trades. I am the host of Murals in the Market Live. And you know they can't keep a good man down. You know I'm not going to stay inside the whole time. You know, I'm only inside for the winter, baby. So it is man, for anybody in Michigan, you know, it's like a summer day. It's like 40 degrees. I done seen like 5 people already jogging with shorts on. It's damn near summer in Michigan over here. So I will not be inside at Optimal. So for everybody who's heading over to Optimal to watch me through the glass, nah, you can come and watch my ass. Oh, dang, I tried to be like Sheefy and rhyme there. I am over on the wall where we were lucky enough to have almost 40% of the Murals in the Market artists. But I'm going to walk down to one of my favorite pieces and talk to one of my favorite artists today. His name is Bisco Smith. But before I get into that, I definitely got to say what's up and thank you to Rula David for coming on last week. The Capitan came on, talked about what is going down, talked about what it takes to start a mural festival, what it takes to make that thing happen. Right, it is summer, right? What is happening? It is summer out here. Look, I got sunglasses on and everything. So, mad shout out to Rula David for coming on last week, hanging out with us for an hour. Anybody who missed that, you can definitely check that out in the archives of the Murals in the Market Instagram. Or you can, as always, go to the Ride Detroit YouTube channel and check out any and all of it's probably 40 interviews with artists from all over the world, different parts of Murals in the Market. I mean, it even surprised me. I've been doing these for so long that all of a sudden I looked up and it was like 30. And now, like I said, we got to be knocking on 40. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to start walking towards my destination, but I'll talk about some stuff on the way. It's a lot of traffic in the market today. I got to watch out. Like I said, it's summertime. They out here today. The farmers ain't out for the season, but the people sure are. This lady about to run me over, though, so let me get off the street while I'm walking down here. So, yeah, man, I'm not going to go too much into these because I do tours of this jazz. So anybody who wants to come and see and get the real lowdown on this stuff, I do tours. A lot of people are like, wow, your lives are awesome. But I definitely will take you on a tour. You can find out information on how to go on that tour and find, on ridedetroit.com. It's crazy. Like, I've done all of these artists. So like, when I look at Marshu, I can just think back to how awesome the interview was now. So I get to pass all that information along to you. All right? Oh, man, my gimbal's going nuts over here. Let me see if I can get it. What is happening, brother? Man, it is a beautiful day in Michigan, so we talked about me going outside, so I'm doing it, brother. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. Damn, look at that building they built. Wow, crazy.
Yeah, man, it is, I guess, like a climbing wall gym. But, man, like I said, your piece it still is, but was one of my favorite pieces and one of my favorite stories when I gave tours, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it is one of those that has a story behind it. But let's get into you, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Saturday, chilling, trying to start the day. A little slow motion, but it's all good. Happy to be here for sure.
How's everything been?
Everything is good, man. Just riding out this pandemic like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, man. How's it been?
It's been all right. We had a baby at the beginning of it, my wife and I, so it's been interesting, but amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, so just like trying to maintain work, life, business, and health at the same time, and it's going all right. Yo, it's so crazy I'm just looking at this mural because I haven't seen what the building. But what's funny is that the mural says "Forever Forward," and it's all about like progress and moving forward. And then they put a building right in front of it. It's like there's irony in the statement with them building that,
Right, man. So let's talk about, before we get into your mural, man, let's talk about you. A lot of times I pass along the questions that people ask. So a lot of times people ask how you got started, in art. When did you first, start to realize that this might be a thing? I hear sometimes at 2 years old, sometimes later. What's your story, brother?
Uh, I don't know if until I was like 30, I didn't realize it could be a thing. You know what I'm saying? But I've been painting walls and doing graffiti and all that since very young, like 11, 12 years old. Skateboarding kind of got me into it. And I just fell in love with graffiti straight up. Like, it wasn't about art. It was just about painting graffiti per se, right? And that built friendships, that built everything for me, basically. And I grew up outside of New York City, so in the 90s, graffiti was like bleeding from the city down the highways, on the train lines and all that. And I just got magnetized, bro. Like, it really just took me on a journey. Took me on a journey to graphic design, took me on a journey deep into hip hop, where I made records, I DJ'd, I DJ'd for a long time. And I took that craft very seriously. And, I'm the type of dude that, like, when I get into something, I want to make it not just a hobby. Like, I try to do it for real, and push it as far as I can. But creativity's always been in me, man. And I feel like business, no business, whatever, I'm always going to create, whether it's like, taking photos or making paintings or making raps or whatever. It's like, if I don't create, I don't feel right. So it's kind of, and right now I'm just in this painting space, and will it be forever? I don't know. I mean, I'll create forever, but I'm sort of just living the moment, man, and it got me here.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So what came first, the chicken or the egg, the music or the art? Which more of the professional career took off, because you got some music out.
Professionally, yeah. I mean, music's a hard game, man. Like, it's a beautiful game in the community and the tour. I mean, I was able to travel and tour a lot and meet people all over the world, and for that I'm forever grateful. But I was always like doing design for music, so I always like kind of worked on record covers, made records and all this stuff. And at the same time, I was doing graffiti. So they kind of all happened at the same time. I cycle in between them. I'll be like, this is the longest stretch I've been deep in one of the crafts, like just painting. But it will be like 5 years of steady graffiti, 5 years of steady DJing, 5 years of steady raps. And then I hit this level, and maybe I'm 7 years deep right now in just solely painting. And I made a decision. I stopped making music. It was like distracting me from doing this shit. And the older I got, the more I realized, like, for shit to work, I felt at the time like I need to put 100% in. And I put 100 in, I put 120 in, whatever, as much as I could. And fortunately, it's been like giving back, it's been working.
So when did you start to develop your style? Because from what I understand, it's heavily influenced by your music or by
100%.
music. So
Well,
when did you start to develop this style?
I would say, like, the style's always been developing, because in graffiti, like, my style's based in hand style, right? Which when I'm 11, I'm working on how dope I could write. So that's been like a work in progress since the beginning of understanding what graffiti is, and it started out super whack, obviously, like some toy shit, like everybody, like, it's just what it is. But so that's like before it hit as something where it became, I don't know, outside of the wall of the graffiti, let's say. It was like at least 20 years of practicing that. But then, like, I had to, like, it's a long journey, but I had to get myself off the computer, which I was very deeply on. And I'd always been me like the energy. When I write, I feel it picks me up. When I write, I clarify my thoughts. I figure out the future. I kind of just navigate my life through writing, whether it's songwriting, journal writing, gratitude, whatever I'm writing, that shit just like moves me, right? So I did have like a clear moment where I wrote raps on the wall in my hand style with beats on, and the energy was like, I was like, whoa, I hit something. Like, that shit felt like I was on in a New York cipher, but I'm in my studio, I'm writing raps, I'm freestyling, I got the beats on, and the aesthetics are there, and it kind of just all hit, man. And I chase that energy still, I'm just on it, like, trying to always feel that same feeling, if not greater.
So when you approach a situation or approach a wall, how do you begin to come up with the concept? Do you start to hear music in your head? Do you start to play music, or do you start to compose some type of a soundtrack per se?
It kind of depends. Like, I would say, let's say for reference, the wall you're standing by, right? Like that 1X Run and Murals on the Market reached out, which is dope. I love, you know, we could talk about that for a long time, how dope that company and those people are. But they reached out, and I'm like, it's in Detroit, man. And Detroit had been going through it. There's a lot of changes. The market itself is changing. And I try to come up with a statement, no music element, but like a statement that whether you read it or not, there's an energy in the work. And that piece says forever forward, and it's like says it multiple times bleeding out of the wall. So it's like continuously moving through the wall. And it's really just about pushing forward, man, through the bullshit, you know, and not necessarily like progress of building buildings, but just on a human to human level, like forever forward through these tough times or whatever, and just keep pushing forward, man, you know. So for this one, like there's no freestyle. It's too big. That wall's huge. Like it's hard to see through here for anyone tuned in and checking it out. But that wall is, what do you think it is? Like 50 feet tall, 40 feet tall?
Yeah, easy.
It's
Easily.
super big, and it's probably like 150, 200 feet wide. So like, there's no way I could freestyle that wall. But you know, if like a piece that's behind me in this image where I'm sitting, that's all freestyle writing and rapping. So that I put beats on, I start writing. So depending on the situation, it's like premeditated or not, you know, and depending on the stakes and what I have to, who's involved. Like, you know, you can't go to Murals in the Market and freestyle and end up with some whack shit. Like, you got to kind of be on point, I feel, out there. So I had to have an idea, you know.
So you knew how big your wall was going to be before you got here? You sort of had an idea?
Yeah, I mean, I
laugh.
actually didn't know it was going to be that wall. We were up in the air on some walls, and then I got there, and Jesse's like, yo, I got this wall. You think you could handle it? And it was like a magic wall, because right now that building's there, but that shit had like, a football field or two, wide open field in front of it. And it was such a dope spot to paint, man. Really, really was a good time. So when he hit me with that, I was like, oh yeah, I could handle it, man. And my wife held down the lift the whole time. So my wife Jasmine rocks with me on a lot of stuff, and particularly this wall, we really had a great time doing it. And we had that big, like, forget the name of the kind of lift, but it's a huge lift, you know, and she rocked it the whole time. We did this wall together, and it was quite a time, man, you know.
You know, when I come through here, people always ask me, they say, do you guys like go over the art or change the art? And I always say, man, art is temporary. So like, you know, we have to accept that in the reality of what we do.
Totally.
So when you look at something like this, man, what is it? You know, we talked about for a second yesterday, you know, you've seen this before many times.
Yeah, I mean, so on the art side, like, coming from the era of graffiti and you know, I grew up on some toy shit. Like, it took me a long time to get good, and my pieces used to get ragged, and you know, it's like it took a while to get to the point where I could hang with people on a level. So I grew up where shit you put up on the wall might be gone tomorrow, you know, and that's like the nature of anything in the street. You know, the street's got its own objective. Like, dudes could come and do fillings on it, or it could live for 30 years. It could become historic. Who knows? But it's like the beautiful nature of this craft on the outdoors is that the elements could wash it away, right? So there's that. But then the building, like we were speaking about, I lived in Brooklyn in the 90s, and I still have a place there and still am involved in Brooklyn. But I seen Brooklyn change. I lived in Venice, California before Google came and Snapchat, and watched that tech come in and change that community and watch the building. So it's interesting how like this art plants the seed, or maybe not interesting, it's logical, but even Wynwood, like I was down there while it was bubbling, and now it's like fully bubbled, you know? Watching these places change because the art goes there first. And I mean, it's like a timeless tale, right? Soho did it. You think about Soho in Manhattan right now, shit, it's crazy. Like, how could that ever be abandoned buildings? But at one point, it was artists in these, like, in warehouses, and now it's Prada in every store you could imagine, you know? So we're part of a timeless tale here of the art leads the way for, you know, these people with more money to come in and change shit. I think we just gotta buy buildings, man. I think that's what we gotta do as artists, like buy some shit instead of just painting them all, you know?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, what do you think the future of this is? But you think that's where it is
Well,
less.
part of, and then like just in the same vein that the walls could disappear, artists we evolve, man. I think like we're supposed to change, right? So if the neighborhood gets too crazy, or we can't, it's like it's good for us to change our environments and grow and try new things. So maybe it's in our nature to be shifted and then continue the shift, you know? So I don't know. Part of me feels like, though, if we want equity in those spaces, like, you know, I don't know if 1X Run did it. I think they did, but they're smart with their business where they own what they work out of. And then as the neighborhood around them changes, they're also benefiting from that, I imagine. I don't know for sure, but I think so, you know?
No, that is absolutely a truth. So how did you end up meeting Rula and those guys, or how did you end up getting the call for this, for Murals in the Market?
Jesse, I connected with. I actually didn't meet him, but it was like 2000. I want to say like 15 or something like that. And a friend of mine had a spot called Rise Up Gallery in Wynwood, and I had a show there during. I think it must have been during Basel, you know. And I had definitely been familiar with what 1X was doing, and was a fan. And then Jesse connected with the gallerist, they connected me, and then we started working together, you know. And I was like, I think we probably worked together first in 2016 maybe, and we did a collection. The collection went great, so that was a good move. And then we did a second one, and it went terrible, and that was typically like how my shit goes. Like the first one will be a banger, second one not so much, but if I persevere through that, like that loss, then, you know, or that experience of learning, then we keep moving. So yeah, we started working together back then via a Basel Connect, and then I have a friend, Greg, that works with Jesse and Rula, and I think he put my name in the mix for the mural project, and that really brought it to life, you know. And I had obviously been watching what they were doing and been a fan of it, so it was really dope to be a part of that one.
What was your experience like, man? Because sometimes I talk to people and they were like, that summer was hot. You know, do you remember, was it just a chill summer? Was it, you know, did you have any experiences that you remember that really resonate in your mind?
Well, I'm going to tell you, like, that was probably the best scenario wall I've ever painted. And I painted a lot of walls, and many have different reasons for being, like, dope. And, you know, whether it's the environment or what happens around it, the people you meet. But this one was like, man, they really, first of all, took care of us, you know, in a way that was made me feel really well connected and shit. Nice hotels, nice food, nice transportation, nice introductions. They showed us Detroit. We got a good tour of understanding of everything, connected with artists. So like that whole vibe, they set the tone, really dope to paint. Then you give me a wall that big with all the material and the help I need to paint that shit. Like, I mean, incredible. That's a dream come true. Here's a 250-foot wall, whatever. Like, have fun painting it. That's amazing, you know? So there's that. And then I remember this clear moment of, like, my wife Jasmine and I were up on that lift, bumping music. We're, like, dancing, having fun painting, you know? And I feel like it's Craig and some of the team. These guys are rolling around delivering Chinese food while we're on the lift. And I'm just like, man, I'm painting a fucking wall this big with my wife in Detroit on a lift 100 feet in the air, and dudes are delivering me lunch. And I mean, it was like, you kind of can't get a more comfortable, blessed scenario than that, you know? And then the parties, just the whole vibe they set out there, and the market itself, the whole thing is really special, man. You know, it's done really, really well. And as you know, like, their business is done well, and this is done really well. So everyone involved, I know, feels really good about it, you know?
Nah, man, I every time I talk to people, there's a family vibe that comes to this every time, man.
100%.
There's no bullshit to it. Like, they don't pick people just because they like the art. They pick people because they're great people, man.
Yeah.
So, like,
we had a great synergy with all the artists. Like, the artists were dope. It was just such a good time. And you know, when you do these things like these mural festivals, I've done a few of them, and they're always dope because you really build community, like, strongly. You know, you kick it hard with people, and, you know, I end up missing things like your ride and, you know, the things that you were doing outside, because we were on that wall, like, I don't know, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day to get that wall done in time. But there's so much building, and those relationships last forever, man. Like, you know, there's a lot of good friends I built on that trip. And, you know, speaking of, I'm just going to, while I think about it, like, Ricky Powell was there with us at the time, and rest in peace, Ricky, man. Like, what a loss to the culture and just the world. And I had known Ricky peripherally, but they put me in a hotel room next to Ricky, and we had some funny ass moments, man. So I'm forever grateful that like I had that time too, just to connect with that dude who's a legend and super influential, man. And you know, sad that he's not here with us, but the dude left such a fucking impact, man. So for me too, that was a moment of that year. Like I got to kick it with him on a personal level and have some funny ass moments, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, now Ricky was definitely, he was like the like almost the entire energy behind this thing. When he came,
That was
he just
great.
hopped on the golf cart, man, and took it over. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I'm
a special
saying?
guy.
Like
Totally.
I got stories on stories, and
Sure, yeah.
it was wild that, I mean, I don't know if you know, but like literally the week he passed was, he was supposed to be my guest that Saturday.
Oh
So
man,
it was
didn't know
like,
that.
it was pretty wild for us to experience, but we keep it going, you know, because
For
we know
sure.
Ricky will want to, man. So
Yeah, man.
speaking of keeping it going, what are you up to right now, man? Anything, you working on anything?
Yeah, I'm working on like I got some projects I'm doing, some like brand projects, you know, in the city. We're talking about this, like I'm doing an install in the World Trade Center for a company that I'm really pumped about. Just to, you know, like the World Trade Center is obviously a powerful building in New York, you know, or powerful few buildings, a whole area. I was in New York in 9/11, so that was a powerful time. So to be able to go back in those buildings and bring art there is pretty special. So I'm working on that. I'm making a lot of paintings, man. Like I'm doing commissions and just painting, but because of Corona, I just been on the low. And with the new baby, I've been trying to, you know, navigate the new parent vibes, but also the new parent in a pandemic vibes, you know, which is kind of crazy. So I'm starting
Right.
to just get, which I don't know if it's good or not, but a little more comfortable in the world, you know. And my wife and I and son, we got a spot upstate New York, like outside of the city. We still got the city spot, but just a little escape to kind of be in nature. And also, I've been trying to see, you know, like making art, doing this job takes a lot of hours, man. I put a lot of hours into the studio, and I want to be around my family more versus like be 30 minutes away at the studio by myself all the time or with an assistant all the time. So we got this like dope live work spot, and I'm kind of just settling into that too, where I can make paintings and be around my son more, and you know, be like a better balance to family and work. But I'm just working, bro. I'm always working. You know, some other projects in the play. I don't have any exhibitions coming up that I'm, you know, there's things in the works, but with pandemic life happening, I'm not taking any trips right now, so I'm kind of just like waiting to see how this all plays out, you know. But
Yeah, I
I'm
think
healthy,
this,
I'm good, I'm with the family, and I'm making art. I'm like, this all I could ask for, you know.
nah, man, this time has definitely made us refocus, I think, on what the true priorities are,
For
you
sure,
know,
man.
in life these days, man. You know what I mean? I was just talking yesterday about how, like, all the shit I used to do, man, that didn't make sense, I don't do anymore. You know what I mean? It's like I hang out with my daughter, I hang out with my family, and I try to stay focused on the things that are
Yeah,
important, man. So
totally.
that's all we can do.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I, you know, before this pandemic, I was traveling like at least every month. I'm on a plane somewhere out of town for a week or two. Like I hadn't stopped moving for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and um, it was interesting to stop. But mine simultaneously happened with the birth of my son. So like that stopped us. You know what I'm saying? And then the pandemic stopped us. So I'm not really sure if I've even processed the whole thing, but it's interesting to be still and to just be, you know, not around the world. I mean, I missed humans and I missed the homies and I missed moments like this in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be cool if we were chopping it up at the wall right now, me and you know. But for what it's worth, like there's silver linings and families for sure. One of them, you know.
So you're in the studio, man, right? So
I
you got
am.
anything? You got any gems? You got something hidden?
I'll show you like
anything?
I'll give you a little bit of so I'm still building out the space, you know, but I'll just show you what I'm working on. You can see these big paintings, right? There's like six of them. Let me see. So you see, these are all happening. It's a whole part for this whole World Trade Center thing I'm talking about. And there's same thing over here, just these big pieces. See, you can see that, right?
Yeah, man. Wow.
So that'll be that's like part of the install. Like it's going to become sculptural and become a whole thing, but it's the blueprint, you know? And then these are just pieces that are up on a wall at the moment. That's some abstract shit. And these are here working on those. Maybe they're done. I'm not really sure if they're done yet, but just working. And let's see what
How do
else.
you know when they're done? How do you know? Is it just you just look at it and you say, you know
Yeah,
what?
it just feels right, you know? It's a feeling. And then I got this triptych that I'm working on right here. So that's happening. And
So does every piece say something?
yeah, like it starts. Like, so this one, I forget what it, I need a moment to, shit, what does it start with? Like, I start with writing something, right? Like, so the beat's on, and I have this all primed, and then at some point something hits me like that I want to express at the time, and then I write this word, right? Like mad big, boom. This whole thing is like an abstract, big graffiti, fucking dirty tag, you know. And then I'll step back and start abstracting it and bring it to a point that I feel is like balanced and designed. And you know, like, yo, if I fuck up, then I just fix it and I'll go back and do something on top of it or whatever. But it all starts with writing for sure, and that's like sort of how I know how to start my process. The first mark is always writing. So if it goes abstract, it's like it started there, but it's gonna go somewhere else. And like these are straight like raps, you know what I mean? Like I'm writing lyrics. And so like what I would typically do is, or like not typically, but when I used to write music more, I would just free write, like a lot of free writing and put beats on, just write. And then those would become songs when I would sit down for like a round two and I pull out the good pieces and I would turn that into like, I tighten it up. And by the time it's recorded, it would be a third version, you know? So this is like version one of the songwriting, let's say, you know? But that's what I'm at right now. I just delivered a lot of paintings to to a gallery, and like, you know, I just been making work. But so you kind of got it on a day where there's only this one big project happening, but you know, this new space I got is I can paint like 20 plus paintings at one time. It's crazy. So I'm really like, my productivity level is increasing, you know, which is nice. And so I'm feeling good about where things are at, but I'm not really feeling this. Like, dude, I want to travel. I got conversations in Japan and Belgium and all this shit, but it's like I'm just posted up on the New York side until I feel safe to fly, you know, and healthy and shit.
So the process for starting a piece, do you just start it? Are you on a production schedule? Like, do you say, you know what, I got to get work in, so I got to get up and get work in, or do you just start working when you feel like working?
That's a good question. I wish I just worked when I felt like working, man. No, I work all the time, you know. Like, you know, if I basically try to work like a job, you know what I mean? Like I wake up, I hang with my family, then I go to work, and I'm here from, let's say, 10 to 6 every day, and then I'll do family shit, and then come back to work if I feel like it, or if I have work to do. But typically what I do is I know the size I want to paint paintings, and I put up canvas everywhere. I prime it, I stretch it on the wall, I get it ready, and then I start working on those piece by piece. And like, there's the thing behind me is for a project, right? But like the triptych I showed you, these other paintings, I'm just painting them. And you know, the way my life works is like the paintings eventually will find a home 2 years later, 5 years later, 2 weeks later. So I just work, man, and you know, even when there's nothing that I have to do, I'm always doing something, for sure, no question. And I think there's multiple pressures behind that. One is like, I think it's not the most healthiest, but I feel like we're like only as dope as our last piece, you know what I mean? So, and the success is like rented, so it's a constant work. You gotta just keep moving, or else it could stop tomorrow, you know? So there's that feeling. There's also like my mental health, the way I process the world is through these paintings, and you know, so I gotta get energy out of me, and it does that. And those are probably the two most important, you know what I mean, that like drive that daily work. And it's my job, man. I love this shit, you know. What I'm fortunate every day to be able to do this, you know.
We're talking about it every week. We talk about it being a job, and a lot of people think that y'all just do this as a hobby. You know what I'm saying? But there's real business to this.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
man.
what is the focus on that, man? You know, how do you stay focused on the business
Well,
end
I
of
told
things?
somebody recently, I'm like, yo, I only paint paintings on Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? But I work every day. Like, so that's kind of an exaggeration, but you know, every day is not paint for sure. Like, there's so much business to talk about. There's so much digital shit to talk about. There's connectivity. There's so much work outside of what people see as painting to make this work, which I personally enjoy. I like the business. You know, before this, I had a graphic design business, and like I like doing business. I like meeting people and talking about shit, and so there's all that. But yeah, like a lot of the work is not the funnest of work, but it's still good work, you know, and it just takes a lot of elements to make the machine work, man, you know.
Absolutely, man. When did when did you learn that how important the business aspect? Was there a moment in time where you were like, oh, wait a minute, now this is real shit right here. Like, I need to really
I mean,
buckle down.
I've been, because I had the design business before, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, before the internet was really doing what it was doing, I was making a living freelancing, and how I would get work is like I would go out to hip hop shows, I'd go out to events, I'd connect with people, and then the next day I'd have design work. So I always been like it's just natural to me to network and connect and do that shit, you know. But I would say, like, I learned my self value at some point, and I put a value to my work that no one else would have put if I didn't put it. You know what I mean? And then I stood by that value, and I still stand by that value. And I think that's probably like maybe one of the important pieces of this thing is, like, as artists, like, people will ask for our shit for free. Everybody wants our shit for free, you know. But if we don't put a value to it, we're not going to eat. And I think when I actually understood the value of this stuff, and I'm still doing it, I'm still understanding, I'm still learning every day, but I think that's a huge piece to this puzzle, you know.
A lot of students that I have that watch, that are thinking about getting into this, they always ask if you have any advice for any young kid or anybody young thinking about getting into this game. Is it a good move, and where do they start?
But yo, you're a teacher. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Absolutely, man. I taught digital media at the Y for several years. Then I taught over at River Rouge High School. I taught digital media, man. And I taught it when I started teaching it before it was a job. Like, I mean, now you can get on the internet and you can make millions on millions. And back then, I was teaching kids when they were really cracking into it. And so,
so
I'm
digital
happy.
media, that's not like design. That's like straight media. Like, what is that? Like, I think of, like, are you just teaching them about all the media possibilities?
Teaching them the art aspect, but then also teaching them really, like, how to edit, how to work with the technology, and how to, because, like, it's at the time, it's crazy. I always tell the story about Tyler, the Creator. When I was teaching, those kids were just coming out. I used to go to every school and be like, watch those kids.
They did that shit so amazingly, the way they rolled their stuff out.
I was like, watch these kids. They produce, they do all their own videos, they control all their own business, all their own money. I was like, that's going to be the future of this game. And so to see that come to fruition is wild, man.
Yeah.
So, like I said, when I talk about, giving advice, I tell them to just do it. This is the world that we live in. You can really create your future, man. So,
I think that's like a motto I live by right there, create the future. But I think, I'm like that's dope that you do that, man. Thanks for doing that, because the kids need people to give them the light. You know what I'm saying? And that's good way to spend your energy. So thanks, bro, for training the young ones, My thought is, like, I got a few thoughts that come to mind. One is, art is so subjective that just make the shit you feel like making. Because I think we live in a world of judgment, and everybody wants to make something that's perfect, or they want to do something that, like, in school, they're like, paint a picture that looks like this picture. And everyone judges technical. There's so much judgment that we spend our whole fucking life trying to, as artists, to pull that judgment out of our work once we built these judgment walls up. So my advice is, like, if you're 12, 15, 18, like, just do the shit that you feel like doing. Find you know what I'm saying? And then express you. And there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. It's just how much work. There's pieces I look at that are like wow, that shit is amazing. And my friend would be like, that's terrible. I could paint that in 2 minutes, you know, and vice versa. And, you know, so really like art is in the eye of the creator, and just find your shit and create and be free, you know? And I think freedom is number one in terms of creativity. And then business wise, I guess patience and realizing that this shit takes a long time. Like it's easy to look on the internet and say, oh, yo, like, you know, these guys got 100,000 followers, or they're making a living off art, and I want to do that tomorrow. And then they give up, or they feel like they don't get it in, you know, the first year, 3 years or whatever. But this shit takes time, and it should take time. And if it, I always have a theory of like, if you rise too quick, you're going to fall too quick. So like, let that rise, be patient with the rise, and be patient with yourself, and like, yo, have a good time, man. It's life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could all get knocked out tomorrow as we feel like more and more corona. It's like, and these are things I tell myself too. So I'm not preaching to the youth. I'm also speaking to myself. Like, I got to tell myself this shit all the time. And half of my work is about speaking to my own self and telling me like, yo, chill, relax, like, trust the future, fucking go forward, just do it. Like, these are things I'm honestly always telling myself. So I feel like, you know, I'm definitely trying to like continue, because I have goals, bro, and it's like patience. Just, I'm in a good spot, but like, be patient and keep working, and it'll get there. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of, so you got, speaking of goals, you know, what would your dream, you know, what's your dream job? You know, like if you could do right now, like what you want to do, what would it be?
I mean, at this very moment, the first thought I think of is like a museum exhibition, you know, but like, I mean, at the MoMA or some shit like that, the Guggenheim, like a level, a really high level. But then I ask myself, what's that about? What does that even mean? Like, that's just some weird institutional, like, to say you did it type of shit, you know? You know, I think that's a big one. The family, raising a family off art is a big one for me, and I'm doing that now. I've started that, so I feel like I'm in a good space with that. And again, like, the success is rented, so I'm continuing to work hard for that. But yeah, I would like to. I just want to keep exploring the work, man, too, and let that go big. And I'd like to do paintings that are 15 feet by 15 feet and really big studio work. And I also like to get a lot of money to give money back. Like, if I could continue to rise, like, I'd love to find a way to move money through the world in a good way, man, you know? So maybe not just for my own personal satisfaction, like the MoMA, but like doing shit that can have philanthropy behind it, you know? I think would be dope.
Nah, I'm with that, brother.
I gotta write my 10-year goals out, dude. I've been sleeping on that lately, you know?
You got to write, and that's great. You're talking about writing your 10-year goals out, where most young kids aren't even writing their 5-year goals out, man. And that's a real deal, man. Having goals and having plans, that's 100%. A real thing, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think so much of, like, so you kind of circle back to the conversation, right? I didn't really know you could make a living off art. I didn't even understand this was a thing. You know, and I had to see it. And at one point in my life, I met someone who I was like, wait, yo, like, I'm in your backyard. This is your house. You bought it off art. You're a painter. Like, this is crazy. I didn't even thought like old people did that. And I don't even know how they did it. But that's how I navigate the world. I don't really think too much. I'm just in it. But anyway, I say it to say, I had to see the possibility to know I could do something. And I always think like, yo, if your father is a astronaut, then you're like, hell yeah, I could go to space. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, my dad goes to space. But if you don't know anyone ever been to space, you're like, that's not even a concept. You know what I mean? So we got to see it to believe it and to understand it's achievable. And I think part of seeing that is like writing shit down and really having a big vision, you know? Because I do believe in this life we could do whatever we want to do. You just got to work your ass off and be focused, you know?
That's another thing when I tell people all the time. I said, man, really, if you really focus, man, because I can tell stories of people who got rich never thinking they'd get rich or achieve success, never thinking that. And you could talk about the list of people who didn't achieve success until they were in their 40s or their 50s. So talking about not giving up, you know what I mean? Talking and perseverance.
Yeah, that makes me think about, like, enjoy the process, man, too, because that success, like, you know, when I was younger, I was making records, and someone told me this. He's like, because he was having success, he's like, bro, you get to the top of that mountain you're on, you're going to look up, there's another fucking mountain. So enjoy that mountain, because we think like of these end results. Like I want to be in the MoMA, or I want to have whatever it is, $100,000 or $1 million or whatever. You get that shit, and then you just want more. And it's like the nature of humans. So I think it's so important for us to enjoy the process of as creators of this whole shit, because the end result doesn't actually feel crazy. It's like it happens for a moment and you're like, all right, what's next? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and maybe that's life in general, man, you know?
I think that is life in general,
like
brother.
you gotta enjoy these
really
every
do.
day, you know, and the hard ones and the shitty ones and the great ones. And it's like, cause this is it, you know?
Absolutely, man. Like these always, we could talk for hours and hours, brother.
Yeah,
Like
I feel you, bro.
I hate these things because I always get in and then I'm just like, yo, like you said, if we were in person, we'd be just rapping
Yeah.
forever,
Well, one
man.
day
But
we'll link in New York or Detroit and, you know, chop it up in real life. I knew when I talked to you last night, I was like, oh, you got the good energy, bro. We'll have a good conversation, you know? And we could talk about this kind of shit all day, and especially you're an educator and you're involved in the arts. I mean, like those are two things that I really respect and hold close, you know what I mean? So let's continue this sometime when the world is in order better, you know? And yeah, I think I appreciate it. And you know, I do though want to just like give huge respect to Jesse and Rula and the whole 1X Run crew, because like everyone involved in Murals in the Market and all the people that push 1X Run forward and shine so much light on the work. I mean, they give so many people opportunities to move their work. It's incredible. It's so respectable, and I got the highest respect for that crew. So, you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And I think like, you know, they've just done a lot for the art community, and it's so. I hope they get their flowers, man, because they deserve that shit. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I appreciate them. So tell them I said thank you very much, you know, and thank you, bro. I appreciate your time and showing everyone the art, man. It's really dope that you go around and tell everyone all of the stories about our work. And I hope this gave you some insight for the next crew that you talk to about
man,
that.
you know, it's as much as it's for them, it's for me, man. I'm a fan, so I get to act like I'm not, but I'm a fan of you, dude. So I get to hang out. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you for everything.
Yeah,
Where
man.
can we support you? Can we get some of your stuff right now? The website, any of that?
You could check out Instagram, my website, biscosmith.com. You could just Google the shit, you know. Artwork wise, I think my prints, I don't have any at the moment. Paintings, I got some paintings for sale. You could reach out to me. I got some shit with some galleries. So, you know, if you're interested, just hit me up. But find me online until Corona's over, and then find me in the street somewhere chilling, you know.
That's what's up, brother. Congratulations on the child, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate
You
that.
got a journey ahead of you. Like I said, I got a 6-year-old, man, and this every day is a new day that you laugh and smile. Sometimes you cry, man. So
bro,
get ready.
It's the best art. Like I've thought forever that I'm like, I make paintings cool. And then we made a baby. I'm like, oh, these paintings got nothing on the baby. Yo, that's like there's a whole nother artistic endeavor of creativity that's like, it's another level. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm excited about it. And, you know, hopefully you and I talk soon. Stay safe out there, bro, and take care of yourself and enjoy that nice weather, man.
Will do, my man. Let's talk soon.
All right, cool. Peace, bro.
All right, I'll talk to you in a minute. Peace.
Later.
Man, that is awesome. There it is. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a ray of sunshine on an otherwise cold day. But I tell you what, though, I don't know about you. I'm off for the next 3 days, and I'm going outside in this sun. I'm going to get my bike out and go for a bike ride. I hope that gave you as much positive energy as it gave me. Got to hear the lowdown on one of my favorite pieces and my favorite artists of all time, man. If you want to support any of these artists along with Bisco, please